Hello, everyone. This is another episode of the Mission Start podcast, and this is not by myself this time. This time around, I got some friends to join me. With me are two guys from Artistic Alliance. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I am Greg Dietz. I host the show on Artistic Alliance called The Overtime. I am sometimes on the main podcast, which is the Freaking Awesome podcast, and I have my own internet show. It's technically a blog called The Geek Losing It. You can find that on YouTube.
Nah.
Damn, Greg, how do I live up to that?
You don't. You don't. You just pray people don't notice. That's all.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Whitaker, one of the awesome hosts of the Freaking Awesome podcast, and I don't have quite the extensive resume as Greg.
Thanks, guys, for coming in. Usually in our show, we talk about what you've been playing or what you've been watching. Though this is more of a relaxed podcast than it was before. I'm just gonna throw it out there to you guys. What you guys have been up to?
Nothing personal. I don't know. I just been playing, Gears of War 3 and been dealing with that a lot. And I think the thing about Gears of War 3 that's like starting to get to me is that it can be a little too heavy.
Heavy?
Like
whoa, dude, that's heavy.
I I don't know. I haven't been really playing I was playing a lot of Black Ops and I was getting really heavy on that. Then I stopped playing Black Ops because I was feeling like I was getting angry too quick. I felt like my heart was pumping a bit too fast playing those
People were
games.
cheating too much.
Off and on. But then I stopped playing that and went back to Halo, and Halo's kind of relaxing to me. Like if I play a fighting game, it's like it's the top of the line, like I have to win situation, and my fingers are being frantic. But then when I play like Halo or something, I'm super relaxed.
Right.
I'm not like as on the edge of my seat. Well, playing Gears of War online, I'm totally on the edge of my seat.
Mm. We talking about the single player or talking about multiplayer?
Multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
No, I think the single player and the like the arcade mode or whatever, which is it's essentially taking a scoring system and putting it into to the campaign.
Oh yeah, it's basically just like the Halo 3 type of deal.
Right. That's relaxing. I can totally do that at any time, but the versus, I'm like, I just need to. I don't know. I can only do it so much at one time. Is what I'm getting at.
Right,
So,
I hear
but
you.
so then I started trying to play X-Men Destiny, which is a giant hunk of not a giant hunk of crap, but it's definitely a turd in the hand. That's
Which one will fill up first?
Yeah, yeah.
that's about it. Oh, I'm also I thought I'd throw this out here, and hopefully you two can come too. There's an organization that I'm involved with called Shoes and Sandwiches. We through a course of like 2 months or whatever, we collect as much shoes and clothes and like those reusable canvas bags that you can get at the grocery store or whatever, water bottles, as much as we can, and then on a particular date we go to an area in Sacramento where a lot of there's a large homeless community, and we just hand out all that stuff all day. There's also a bunch of sandwiches that we make and then hand out to them throughout the day. Um, there's been two events so far. There's one at the end of this month on the 22nd, but to raise money and more awareness for the foundation, the I don't know what to call her. I want to say the founder of the organization, Danielle Williams. She's hosting an event called A Night of Entertainment, and it's a fundraiser. Like all the proceeds that we get, like anything that we sell, like the sodas and chips and other snacks, all the ticket sales go to Shoes and Sandwiches, and will go to helping the homeless community in Sacramento on the 22nd of October.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll try my best to go check it out. And everybody else who listen to this should go too.
I've
Yeah,
been
I mean,
spreading the word for you, Greg.
you can go to chooseandsandwiches.com. I appreciate that, by the way, Mike.
You're welcome.
Chooseandsandwiches.com. Find out all the information about the upcoming show, about what the organization is about how to donate. There's also a thing on the website to, if you can't make it to the show or you can't donate food or anything else, you can donate money. There's different price intervals on the website itself you can do with your credit card.
Awesome. Cool. Sweet.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Your
Busy
turn,
guy,
Mike.
you. No wonder I haven't seen you in forever.
So what are you up to, Mike?
Me, let's see. Just like Greg, I've been playing a lot of, Gears of War 3. Multiplayer, beast mode, horde mode. I found out that I like horde mode a lot more than beast mode.
Mm.
I was telling Greg about this, about how I felt about it, and you brought up a good point. Beast mode is probably more fun when you're playing it with people that you know, rather than playing it with people you don't know, because beast mode is really short. It's only 12 waves, compared to horde mode where it's 50, and you're playing as locust characters, locust soldiers from the game, and you're fighting against AI cogs, and it can get kind of ridiculously easy at certain points, where it's like once you just get through their barricades, you just could mow them down, especially if you have heavy characters with heavy weapons, to take them down. um I flew right through it the first time I played it, and I really haven't gone back to it since. If I probably play it with some of my friends, it would probably be a little bit better. But yeah, I love horde mode. Um, I haven't really gotten far on that. I've been kind of busy with other stuff, but I definitely prefer that. Been playing a ton of it. And then I finished the campaign, and the campaign was amazing. And now I'm trying to I'm trying to play it a little bit more so that I can kill some time in between the release of Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham
Ooh,
City.
yeah.
Yeah. trying to like, oh, okay, I beat it on normal. Now I'm gonna try it on hardcore because I just need to extend some time. I don't
Oh,
want to get
right,
bored in
right.
between. But yeah, that's coming out Monday, and I can't wait to get that and play the hell out of that. But other than that, it's just been Gears of War mostly. I mean, I downloaded the new DLC for Portal 2, and I haven't really got onto that yet. I heard that the DLC is just it just makes some of the puzzles a little bit harder, and then there's a whole new section to the multiplayer that relates to the story of the game. It relates the little robots that you play in the multiplayer into the game, and I haven't really got around to checking that out yet, but I will one of these days if I'm not playing too much Batman.
I hear that. I hear that. I'm really excited for Batman too. It's
Yeah.
just the funny thing I was talking to my friend about is that it seems that they're trying to squeeze every known Batman villain into this one game.
Yeah,
It's almost like this is gonna be like the best Batman game ever.
They
it
Um,
is.
almost tried to do that in the first one too, but as for like villains that you actually go up against, they didn't. And in this one, yeah, I completely agree. Like, I'm like, okay, he's in it. Okay, wow, he's in it. Wow, all right, so they're in it. Wow, like, how much further can this go? I imagine that this game will have to be a situation where, like in the other game, it was when you come up to the villain, you finally have that fight with the villain. It's very video gamey.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like, oh, 3 times and they're dead, or find their pattern, that kind of shit.
yeah,
I
hit the
feel
dwelling
like
spot. Yeah,
I feel like this game is going to be much different than that.
yeah,
Like,
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many villains that you're gonna have one fight with each villain, but the either the fights with the villains are gonna be super short, or you're just not gonna have some fights with them. Some of them are just gonna be you figured out what they're doing, and then you get to them and capture them. And I think that's literally it. That's all that the villains are gonna do.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Definitely.
mean, I mean, Bane's not even going to be a villain in this game. He actually is going to team up with you at some point.
Oh, interesting.
Y-
One thing I was saying to a buddy of mine about this game is the one cool thing about Batman is, you know, Batman is cool, standalone. But the thing that makes him really shine is his villains. His villains, like, they have personalities of their own, and they all connect to Batman in some sort of way. And just the fact that all these villains are going to be in this game is just making my hype meter go, out of this world. I mean, I can't wait to interact with these characters and beat them and see what they're gonna say. Like like if Mr. Freeze says everybody chill, I will shit my pants.
If he says that, the game will instantly be garbage.
I know.
And it,
Well,
it,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, that was awesome.
I was gonna say, speaking of Batman, Fear.
Ooh, have,
Here.
have you guys are you playing right now or?
No, I was referring to Fear as in your main discussion that you want to talk about today.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that Batman uses Fear.
Batman Strikes Fear. That's his number one
Uh,
thing. Yeah.
good segue.
Good segue.
Or at least an attempt
Greg,
at it.
this isn't your first rodeo, is it?
Before we talk about our fears and what we do in video games, as far as what I've been up to, I've been lately getting in more into fighting games as of late, and one of which is like Marvel's Capcom 3. And and I'll be honest, like I have not been this much in fighting games in a long time. Just because I've been watching a lot of online streams and whatnot, and I'm actually kind of watching the season beatings at the same time as I'm doing this.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really been into it, and I'm like really excited for Ultimate to come out next month, and I've been really into that. But aside from that, I've been playing Deus Ex, and that game, it is I like everything about it so far. There are some parts in the game where they give the option you could be stealthy or you can just go guns a blazing, but there are some parts in that game where you have to be stealthy. There's like no way you can go run around and just like shoot everybody and able to get through it unscathed. That game is, yeah, at times it can be hard, but at times it's really cool. I've been having. So I've been really enjoying that, and
I had a chance to play a little bit of that, like I don't know, I want to say a few weeks ago, and I liked the idea of how they built the game.
hmm
Like there was a bad and good scale. Like the characters would start to react to you differently, and if you did something, if you did the wrong thing or the right thing or whatever. But the thing is like the line was very blurred.
Mm.
Like blurred to the extent that like when you play Mass Effect or other games that have a bad or good scale, it's always like, well, that's obviously good and that's obviously bad. You can see the line very clearly.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
This game, it was so difficult. And I have this thing about video games and me, and a lot of people find it weird, but it's just the way that my brain works. Um, I can't get immersed into an RPG. An RPG is supposed to be a role-playing game. You're supposed to be role-playing as this character and thinking like this character. And I can never do that. When I play Mass Effect, I'm going, okay, what does Shepard want to do? How does he want to approach the situation? Not how do I want to approach the situation. There was literally a moment in the game where I thought to myself, like, I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not gonna fucking help this dude. Like, he wanted me to sneak in and get like some videotapes or something from a guy because he was being blackmailed. And I literally I said to myself, I don't want to do that.
Right.
I don't want to get in trouble. And I stopped and went, holy crap. Good job, Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Yeah, I totally feel what you're saying because like it's the same for me when I play Mass Effect. It's less of, what would Commander Shepard do. It's more or less what would I do in those situations, and I could totally relate. In so far in Deus Ex, I'm still pretty early in the game, so I haven't really come down to major or any emotional decisions yet. I did a few side missions, to help out the lady, find out what happened to her daughter, and kind of was like some other kind of side quest I was given. So I'm really still early in the game, but I can totally relate to you as far as like how games of that nature can really affect how you decide what decisions you make.
Yeah. I just wish that more games could be like that, because if more games can push that part of me out of the writing mode into actual role playing mode, I'd be incredibly happy. Like right now, there's me and a friend are doing a I don't know how many. I want to say monthly, but it's becoming more than just monthly. But we're
Mm-hmm.
doing an actual role playing sessions where we've like tabletop role playing games,
Mm.
and him and everybody else are like, I am this character. This character is me. And they get into it, and he's an actor, so he's he gets into it really quick. Whereas the writer part of my brain goes, okay, this character's going to want to do this, but he knows the consequence of that, so he might choose this instead. So let's see what happens if he chooses this. I'm not joking. That's how I think it out. Whereas everyone else is like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
Right,
And
right.
and I really wish that's why I wish more games did what Deus Ex did. Especially, I should say Deus Ex Human Revolution, because I didn't I got really into the character.
Right,
Like
definitely.
the only thing I would have to say that I wasn't a huge fan of in that game was the third person cover system.
Mm.
It kind of took me away from the character, so
Right. I mean, like it
it's still
yeah,
good,
it's
but
still a good game. Like as I describe it, it's a Mass Effect. If Mass Effect fucked Metal Gear just in covered in black and gold.
yep, yep.
uh, but
I couldn't have put it any better myself, Anthony.
yes. I've been really enjoying that. So yeah, and then as far as like anime wise, I got a lot to catch up to. Like to see the whole fall season came out, so I need to catch up on that stuff. But
I'm currently watching Metal Gear's or not Metal Gear, sorry, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, okay.
nice.
I had heard that I don't know if you know anything about this, Anthony, but as I know your guys' website deals a lot with anime, so it's basically the manga because the series caught up to or the original series caught up to the manga, and then the series had to go its own different route. So
Hmm.
this is the manga from beginning to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's why I'm rewatching it because apparently halfway there's gonna be a point where I'm gonna go, well, I don't remember that.
Yeah. It's funny. How far you in the Brotherhood, by the way?
I'm like 4 episodes in now, and
Oh, okay.
it's the exact same, just better looking.
Okay. Well, just letting you know, like the first 10 episodes is kind of like a sum up of what happened in the last season or in the previous anime. It kind of is, and you'll be
That's
it,
that's good.
yeah, and it's kind of surprising how they did that. Um, but yeah, Brotherhood is just a straight manga rather than what they did in the other anime, which I still think is still pretty good.
Oh yeah, I love the other one. I absolutely love the other one. It's really funny because a lot of my friends had watched it, but they didn't watch Conqueror Shambhala,
Mm.
and I'm like, you have not finished the series.
Yeah, seriously, seriously. I had thought that when the movie came out that you can't do anything else to make it better or whatnot.
Yeah.
I thought that was it. I mean, I thought you can't do any better, and lo and behold, you got a remake or kind of a reboot of
Have
the series.
you? So have you? Are you caught up to the series or
I have
caught up?
watched like episodes here and there. I've been meaning to get to watching Brotherhood.
Okay, I'm because I just watched I was at anime or SAC anime this like a few months ago,
Hmm.
and somebody had shown a video that was hysterical. It was one of those AMVs,
Hmm.
and it was all about Fooly Cooly, and I had never seen it.
Mm.
And so I was like, well, I need to see this. So I actually got it, watched it, and went, that is a hilarious anime.
Yes.
It's bizarre, but it's funny.
Yes. Such an awesome anime. Man, it's so short too. It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately.
yeah.
But I think it's good like that because it's so bizarre that I don't think I could watch as many episodes there are of other animes. I don't think I could do that with Fooly Cooly.
Right.
I think it's perfect the way it is. It's like I have a friend who hates that anime only because it doesn't explain the iron. It doesn't really explain the girl. It really doesn't explain anything. And I'm like, that's the beauty of it. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. I mean, like it's that type of anime among like others. Like it isn't meant to be taken seriously. Then again, 99% of anime isn't supposed to be taken seriously anyways.
Right. Right.
It's just funny how like they have put this together and it's just hilarious. From moment to moment, where like you see like the episode where the whole you eat a chili, take a shit thing, and it turns out to be a great weapon at the very last end, or hitting the like a giant ass moon or asteroid coming right at you with a guitar.
Yeah.
It's utterly ridiculous. It's
One of my favorite animes to this day, and it remains my favorite anime, is Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say it was one of the first animes, but it was definitely one of the first anime series I had ever watched. I had watched, movies quite often, and um, when when that anime came onto Adult Swim, which was, to be honest, the first time I'd ever heard of it. Um, it was the first time it came onto Adult Swim, and I didn't know what it was. But Adult Swim is also like, I think, a lot of Americans like introduction to certain animes too.
Oh yeah.
Um, but a friend of mine set me down. He's like, "You have to check out this anime," and I'm like, "All right." So I watched it, and the episode that I watched was I don't remember. I don't even remember what episode it was. I just remember not liking it. And then he was like, "Okay, look, I went and bought the entire series. You have to watch it from the beginning and then continue watching it." And seriously, like the second episode had me hooked.
Mm.
And I finally caught up to that episode I didn't like, and I'm like, well, with context, it's awesome. but I,
Awesome.
but I can't, like, I've watched that series as probably as much as I have like Star Wars or other things, just because I love it so much.
Mm. Mm. Awesome. Mike, you've been pretty quiet over there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've just been listening.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. I should want to. I don't want to make you feel left out.
Oh no.
Like, do you have any fond memories as far as like watching anime or anything in particular?
Well, like if I'll talk about like what I've been watching recently. Like, I've been watching the Marvel animes that have been on G4 the last couple months with Wolverine and Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
I am hella behind on those.
Yeah, they're pretty much coming to an end pretty soon because G4 has a plan to do 4 series. Like, I've already done Iron Man and Wolverine, and next they're going to be doing X-Men and Blade.
Mm.
And X-Men's coming up here, I think on the 23rd, maybe a couple weeks away. And so Iron Man and Wolverine are like wrapping up right now, and I gotta say they're pretty good. Um, the thing about it's really quite interesting seeing these iconic characters done in an anime format. You see Tony Stark. He's played by the guy who was in Heroes. I can't remember his name. I'm
Mhm.
gonna- because if he's listening, he's going to be really mad. But
It's Vigo Mental blah 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 blah.
no, that's the other guy who plays. Let's see. That's the guy. That's Milo Ventimiglia, Milo Ventimiglia. He plays the
Right,
voice of Wolverine.
that's what I said. Milo blah 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 blah.
And Adrian Pastar plays the voice of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And these characters are they end up in Japan, which I thought was kind of weird for Iron Man, but it kind of made sense for Wolverine because Wolverine actually has a story in the comic books that takes place in Japan.
Yeah.
But even though Wolverine's in Japan, this story has nothing to do with the one that's been printed in the comics.
Yeah.
And um, it kind of, I don't know. I keep watching these episodes, but I don't think I really like them that much because Wolverine's story is kind of dumb. It's like they took it's like they just took his character and just said like, okay, let's do this story, but let's take this awesome character Wolverine and just stick him right in the middle of it. And it has nothing to do with his origin. It has nothing to do with his background. And if I feel like in episodes they'll like they'll like add a character in from his past, but it has nothing to do with the storyline that he's already set on. Like they'll drop Omega Red in there one time,
Mm-hmm.
to fight Wolverine, but yet he has no purpose in the storyline at all. And like once Wolverine finishes off with him, you almost forget that Omega Red was even in this show at all, because um like I said, it's like they're just dropping characters in to remind fans, like, oh yeah, this guy has a past, but it has nothing to do with this story. But we'll just toss this guy in here to make you remember that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they don't even mention like Weapon X. They don't mention Colonel Stryker or anything like that. And there's only like a couple times. Now I thought this was really funny. There's only like a couple times in this entire series that somebody has actually referred to him as a mutant. And I think that's just the strangest thing, considering Wolverine is a mutant, but yet mutants, the battle that's going on in the United States between the humans and mutants has literally nothing to do in Japan. Like Japan, like they obviously have no issue with mutant race at all. There's no like military faction joining, rebelling against mutants in Japan or in Tokyo or wherever Wolverine is, which I just find is kind of bizarre. It just, when you watch this show, it takes that mindset out of your head of what you're used to in seeing Wolverine as a character, and it just completely like snowballs what you've seen before. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. It's a vague representation of what they believe Wolverine would be in kind of in a storyline they put out there,
Right.
because like the things that they kind of use in the anime they vaguely touch on as far as like comic book wise, like what we know
Yeah.
over here. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with Iron Man too. It's like because I've watched like about halfway to that anime and I kind of stopped just
Yeah.
just because it was alright. Because
Yeah.
well, my main gripe about the anime was that I didn't like the 3D CG Iron Man they used.
Yeah.
I really wish that they would use the one in the trailer they put out where it's like fully drawn, detailed Iron Man suit with everything on it.
Right.
I didn't quite like what the direction they did. It was all right though, but the problem is that Iron Man doesn't have that many enemies to begin with, so it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
get into. But like I hear because like it is a big representation of what they believe like kind of the comic book heroes over here would be in Japan.
Exactly. And then the problem I have with Iron Man, um, I understand, I never read a whole lot of Iron Man. I've only become a huge fan of Iron Man because of what Jon Favreau did with the Iron Man film franchise, and the
Mm-hmm.
way he is. And I tell everybody I'm a huge fan of the first movie because the first movie was so well written, and it was just such a great story of survival and changing your the way you look at life, life changing situation for Tony Stark. I thought that was great. That's why I fell in love with that character. But then I watched Iron Man, the Marvel anime, and I just hated the people that did this anime because they made me hate. I can't remember the guy's name that Tony met in the cave.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about that
Yeah,
guy that he saved in the movie.
yeah, I think it's I can't remember his name. Um, can't remember his name.
Yeah,
Well, anyways,
I'm drawing a
do you
blank.
remember who that is, Greg?
I remember who you're talking about, but I didn't remember his name because he's barely in the comic book and
Yeah.
or the movie, really.
Yeah.
Well, his role, in the cave and John Favreau's movie, it was short, but um, it was, you felt bad after he died. Spoiler for everybody else who hasn't seen Iron Man.
Mhm.
You felt bad when he died. Okay, I felt bad. Oh, Jensen, that's his name, Jensen.
Yeah, there we go.
Jensen. Okay, he was Tony Stark's friend in the cave. But you felt bad. I felt bad for when he died because Jensen was, he was a humble guy. His family was murdered. He helped Tony Stark pretty much change his life. He gave him an eye-opening view of what it was like, being held captive and what happened to his family and, because of weapons and stuff like that, and terrorists killing his family. He helped change Tony's life, even though he was in that cave for a short period of time. What I hated for the guys who did this show was they took a great character who had a real short role in that film, brought him back to life in this show, and made him a total dick and bad guy, and gave him an Iron Man suit to fight Tony Stark. I would sit there and be like, what the fuck? Why would they have to go and take a character like that and totally ruin him for everybody? It's not
Yeah.
necessary. It's really not. I mean, I will say this. I'm sure Iron Man has, a short, um, a short arsenal of enemies. He really doesn't. Iron Man. I'm sure it wasn't a real strong standalone comic until Iron Man became a part of the Avengers, and then things took off for him. When it
Hmm.
came to villains and stuff like that.
Right, right.
So if you're going to make a series off of Iron Man, you got to go into that knowing that there's not a whole lot of enemies, especially when you're putting him in Japan.
Hmm.
Why do you have to go and take Jensen, who was on the other side of the world with him, and bring him to Japan and turn him into a villain? It's like it's ridiculous. It's just and to have him go and watch him die all over again, because I think he did die. I don't think Tony killed him. I think he died. I'm not sure. I can't remember right now. But just to have him have to interact with that guy all over again shows that they have no direction on giving Tony, a solid bad guy to fight. I mean, I know he fights Zodiac and stuff like that, but Zodiac just sends robots and robots and robots after him. And that's all he fights. There's no real other threat to him for some reason, even though he lives in the Marvel universe and there's plenty of threats. But that's another thing that bothers me about these shows is they don't mention anything about the Marvel Universe. The only thing that they did one time on that show, which I thought was completely ridiculous on Iron Man, was they had Wolverine interact in one of the episodes. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
the fuck is he doing there?
I know.
And it was also a scene where Tony was racing in a IndyCar race like he did in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
He was racing the car himself. And it's like, this already happened. Why are you guys doing this again? And why the hell is Wolverine interacting in this episode? And it was just like their little way of saying, oh, yeah, guys, we got another show over here on G42. Make sure you check it out. This guy's playing Wolverine. And it's like, come on, man. Come on. It's like, these are my, the Marvel universe is, one of my things. I keep it close to my heart. It's seeing the way that they, get the rights to these characters. And as soon as I found out that, there was going to be an anime, of these Marvel characters, I thought, okay, this will be a cool way to see, these characters the way they should be done. But no, I was completely wrong. I keep watching it, but I'm not a fan. And I also can't stand the way they drew Wolverine. I think he looks completely ridiculous. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they
It's
also, and just a side note, with the new X-Men anime that's coming out, the Wolverine in that looks exactly the way he should in this show Wolverine. That's all I gotta say. He looks dead on, buff Wolverine in this new show X-Men compared to the show Wolverine that's already on, who looks like a skinny emo kid with 12-inch blades knives coming out of his hands. I don't know.
yeah. The that X-Men anime, I believe, is probably a lot better than the other two. Um,
Yeah.
the funny thing is with that Wolverine that is that, not to give no spoilers out, but that anime can be very cliche at times, and
Yeah.
everybody in there is like buff, like Cyclops, Wolverine, Beast. They're all ridiculously buff and just
Yeah.
muscled out. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I would say you probably enjoy that more than you have enjoyed the last two.
Yeah,
Um,
and then another thing, like speaking of Cyclops, like you were just saying, they also had Cyclops do a cameo in Wolverine, and he looked like the original X-Men, back in the day when they had their full blue uniforms and Logan wore, I mean, Cyclops wore his blue cap over his visor, the full leotard,
oh
and
yeah.
he actually dressed that way in Wolverine, and I was thinking when I saw because before I've seen the commercials for X-Men, I had no idea what the X-Men looked like. And so when I saw, Cyclops on that episode of Wolverine and the Blackbird, I was like, okay, is that a preview of what, X-Men's going to look like? Because if they're going to be like, drawn like that, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. And then I finally see the commercial for X-Men, and I see that Cyclops is running around, with his hair flying around, and they're wearing their updated uniforms. I was like, oh, then what the hell's going on here? And why doesn't Wolverine look the way he does in this show? Aren't they gonna because I thought with the way they're gonna end Wolverine, I thought they were gonna send him into the X-Men, like he's gonna go back to the United States and join the X-Men. No, that's not obviously what's gonna happen. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like again, they're vague representation of the comic books, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, like for them, it's like in Japan, like they don't they don't really care. But like for
Yeah.
us nerds over here on comic book, like that have read it and know the lore, it's like we're
Yeah.
just going out of our minds as far as like what they're getting wrong.
Yeah, it really, really bugs you, and it should bug everybody when they watch it. I mean, I like animes and I like watching them, but if you're gonna take, strong, solid source material like that from us, and you're gonna go and just cut it all up, do your own stories, and say we're just gonna take these iconic characters and throw them in there and don't care what anybody has to say. That's what kind of makes me mad. But and I was also hoping, like, after we saw Omega Red, at that point in the series, I was like, oh man, I hope we see like Deadpool. I hope we see like Lady Deathstrike. Because Lady Deathstrike would be sweet to see it drawn in anime form.
Oh yeah,
Nope.
definitely.
Nope. They dropped that horse like they dropped it like a dead horse, man. I mean,
Who's dropping
like
dead horses?
The man is Greg, the man who runs G4 or whoever's doing these animes. But yeah, I was thinking.
I'm
like,
just saying, I'd like
man.
to meet the man who's strong enough to lift that horse and then drop. He's obviously going to have to drop it at some point.
The man who does that is Hagar, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, like it would have been cool to see Deadpool or something like that. But like I said, they just added that character in there just to make fans remember, like, oh yeah, this is just a piece of what you guys had, and we're just gonna give you a taste of it and then go back to screwing you guys over. It's like, gee, thanks.
Right, I hear ya. Well, we're gonna take a small break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk about games or anime or whatever scare the crap out of us, since this is a Halloween theme episode. Yes.
Oh, that's scary, guys. It was a ghost.
Oh
A
man,
ghost over,
that scared the
ghost
shit.
over the airwaves.
That scared the shit out of me already.
Yes, mission accomplished.
All right,
Greg
guys.
is so scared that he can't say anything.
All right, guys. We will be right back. Hello, everyone. If you're enjoying this episode of Mission Star Podcast, I would like to inform all of you that you can win free stuff on our website now. We set up a contest page, and this week we have our Penny Arcade posters that we got from our good friend Chris. It's the Uncharted 3 Penny Arcade posters that we're giving away. Pay only $1 for a raffle ticket, and we will announce the winners on our website next week. Stay tuned as we have more information to come, not only in this podcast, but also keep tabs on the contest page on our website, and you can find us at www.missionstarpodcast.com. Hello, everybody, and we are back. Now it is Halloween, and of course, whether you're out there in costume or if you're watching a marathon of whatever scary movie you might want to watch, we tend to play games or watch anime or whatever that kind of scares the crap out of us, and we kind of came together and think of like what is the game that really kind of just scared the crap out of us when we were younger. So you guys can take your first hit, or I can go first.
I'd have to say the first Resident Evil 2. And I only say that in the
Yes.
regards of like it scared me when I was a kid. I mean, you got to also think of like the time it came out and stuff like that, and but what really scared me about that game, it wasn't the creatures or anything like that. It was more or less the fact that things just popped out in that game.
Yeah.
Like you're walking down a hall and all of a sudden some dogs are coming through the window, or some hawks, like just loud noises and stuff. That's what really got me with that game. And then the very, very occasional you open a door and there's zombies behind it. But I'd say the game that I just couldn't play, just physically couldn't play, was Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Which one? The first or the?
The very first one.
Oh wow.
Just couldn't play it. Like it it got me that bad.
Wow. Wow.
I'll have to piggyback with Greg on Silent Hill though, but it's just that I don't know what it is. It's that fear of the unknown and walking in the dark for a long period of time. You got something that crawls across the wall and the shadows, and you don't know what it is. That game scared the shit out of me. Silent Hill won for me by far.
Mm.
It's just
Well,
eerie.
what was the most scariest part about it, in your opinion?
For me, it was the ambiance of the game. You're walking through from point A to point B, and you don't know what's going to come out of the fog. You have absolutely no idea. And then there's those moments where, um, of I know like Resident Evil kind of did this, and it's that whole survival. Like every survival horror game needs this kind of feeling, where I know there's some shit around the corner. I'm not stupid. And the game developer isn't trying to trick me into thinking that there is nothing around the corner. So my biggest problem that I'm having right now is I don't know what is around that corner, and I only have 3 bullets in my fucking gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep,
what I'm
that's
gonna
what Resident
do.
Evil did to you. Yeah, it's like you
Mhm.
need to reserve ammo as much as possible, and it scared the shit out of you. It scared me.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, like a lot of the survival horror games I didn't personally play. I was actually sitting with like a strategy guide, helping a friend or something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
so
the
yeah,
it's a whole different story when you're playing it by yourself, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I'll tell. Oh, sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say like I couldn't even play like the Doom 3 that came out not too long ago.
Oh yeah.
The the Doom 3, like I'm Jewish or something. Um, uh, yeah, I couldn't play. I hate that game, and it's not because it's actually scary. Because what bugs the crap out of me about that game is the entire game is like there was no proper ambiance of terrifying. It was every corner was a boo moment. And so
Yeah.
it became clockwork. It was like, hey, I'm walking around this corner. Oh, there's something in my face, and I
Hmm.
was never scared. Like, I seriously got annoyed with that game. But
Mm.
whereas like the other games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, even the newest one, Dead Space, they do a
Hmm.
Right.
fantastic job of like of creating an ambiance that will like just get you to your nerves. So
Yeah. I hear you. Um, if ironically for me, it's also Resident Evil 2 that scared the crap out of me when I was younger. And it was funny because like my cousin gave me all these games to try out, and I popped in Resident Evil 2. It was like, it's at first like when you play the game, it's like, oh, it's not too scary. Even when the parts were like, yeah, you're walking down the hallway, you have no idea what's gonna come out, and then like you jump a little, but then when you think about it afterwards, it's like that shit was scary.
Hmm.
um yeah, like I would remember like playing that game, and my dad told me that don't play that game around my brother because it would scare him too just watching it. um and I remember this because like yes, like I would run out of ammo very quickly because like when I see like zombies coming at me, I like panic and try to aim. But back in the old Resident Evil days, like the tank controls, like you had to hold R1 to aim and then like kind of rotate whatever you want to aim at. And the problem is that when you aim at somebody or at a zombie, it's like there's no indicators where exactly you're aiming at. It's kind of like
right,
a blind kind of shoot and pray type of deal. So
Yeah.
right.
it was added to that. I do remember this one instance, and I don't know how I managed to do it. Then again, I was 13, so it's the skills of my gaming was pretty top notch. I managed to kill a liquor with just a knife,
Nice.
and it was very patience, but like it was also very like scary just because like I had nothing else left. And
Yeah, you're in survival mode. Like you're like, it's like I'm doing whatever I can to get this fucker down.
I
I know
know,
what you're saying.
seriously. I mean, I
Well,
could, yeah. Go ahead.
I would say my like my thing on that on like the whole reserving ammo thing and being able to properly like aim and shoot at things and be calm while in a panicky situation, I'm awful with.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, like the games that I generally try to play are ones that don't make me feel panicked. Like I love the Assassin's Creed series. Can't fucking play it. I can play the multiplayer, but I can't play the actual campaign. And I can play for a while, but like I get to a point where like I have to be stealthy. And it's not that I don't have the patience, it's that literally I don't have the nerves for it.
Right.
Hmm.
I get antsy, I get panicky, and then I lose because I can't. I don't know. There's just something about it. It just doesn't work for me. So I don't play them. But I love the story to those games.
Right, I hear you. I mean, like, well, I love this as it creates series, but I can understand from your point.
I mean, I know it's kind of like it's that weird like attitude towards not attitude, but towards like it's kind of weird to hear, but it's like I'm trying to think of this. There's another horror game that came out not too long ago that was
Alan Wake.
yes, Alan Wake. Thank you. That's a
Hmm.
Yeah,
good.
that
That's a,
one's. If I actually wanted to play that game, but I never got around to it. But I can only imagine how insanely creepy that game is too.
Yeah, that game
Another
is.
fear of the unknown in the dark. You
Yeah,
know.
it's exactly that. It's a really good game. You should when you get the chance to
I would check
play
it
it.
out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, like that's another game where like yes, it's the unknown that you don't know, and the thing is though, when you're walking down the forest, like literally, like you don't know what's coming at you until like you see these black shadows suddenly appear and come at you. So
Hmm.
it really is that.
Yeah.
well, there's a lot of moments in that game too, like when you're walking through the I'm trying to remember what it's called, the lumber yard or whatever,
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
and
yeah.
things are just being pushed and moved, and you don't know what's going to happen. I love that game for that stuff, but like that stuff makes me panicky. And then
Mm.
I shoot bullets I shouldn't be shooting. I aim the light when I need to reserve the
That.
battery.
Hmm.
Right, right. Is there are the games are today? Have you guys played any horror games that you enjoy actually, or like you kind of um you look back and say like it wasn't that bad of a game.
Does Zombies Ate My Neighbors count?
Yeah. How about Plants vs Zombies? Come on.
Technically, if you want to go that route, sure.
Pretty much any game that involved just scary things. I generally
How about like Left 4 Dead or Dead Rising? Those would be considered
well,
scary games,
I'm
right?
thinking back to I'm thinking back to the the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 64. I'm trying to think of games that came out during that time and games that I played that scared me. Because the ones that stand out most in my mind is definitely Resident Evil 1, and
Mhm.
it was a moment like where the first time you come in contact with a zombie.
Yeah.
You come around that corner and there's a cutscene where it looks up at you and you're just like, oh, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
So like, I'm trying to think of if there was any other moments in any other games that I had played that made me feel that way or made me go that direction. Because I'm gonna. Oh, I got a game.
Hmm.
Clock Tower.
Hmm.
Ooh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
That game scared the shit out of me.
Hmm.
And Fatal Frame.
Yes.
Never played
Oh
Love
any of
Fatal
man.
those.
Frame. Fuck
Yeah.
that game. That game. Okay, I take it back. That game scared me worse than Silent Hill.
Wow.
Yeah, like I know the Fatal Frame series. I've not played it myself, but I've seen it in action, and that shit can get scary, man.
Hmm.
Do you hear about the GDS port of it coming soon?
No.
They're having
Wow.
a GDS port of Fatal Frame, and the cool thing about it is that in the game you're always the girl character who is like using the camera, and it's kind of like you run around in third person. When you take a camera shot, it goes in the first person view. In the 3DS version, when you do take a camera shot, you actually move the 3DS as if it was as if it was your camera. So it's a really cool mechanic I want to see, but Fatal Frame series as a whole is just scary as fuck.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
remember I remember there was a friend that we had. He had the PlayStation and he had Resident Evil. My brother was really 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 into horror movies and stuff like that, and he my brother saw Resident Evil, started to play it, and then I was like, "What is this Clock Tower game?" Pop that sucker in, and I don't even know what I think I blanked it out of my memory because it scared me so bad.
Hmm.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, in Clock Tower, it's like you can't fight back, like not much at all. Like your main deal is that you have to run away from the guy the entire
Wow.
time, and like if you panic too much in the game, like you literally just kind of sit there and panic while the guy comes at you and just kills you. So it's yeah, you are defenseless. You don't have a gun, you don't have a sword, you don't have anything really. You're just a girl trying to run away and survive in this horrific world. So it also lends itself to say like in most games like you have a weapon to fight back or you have something to make you feel safe, but in this game you don't at all.
Right. There was a game that I played that actually scared me, but it's not considered a horror game. And it's Manhunt.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That game creeped the shit out of me.
I can see why. I mean like, what exactly was it that creeped you out?
I don't know if it was the other characters that were in it. I don't know if it was the content. I just know I was just like I would think about the game later in my day and just shudder with it was just it got to me
Mm.
to the
You know,
extent that I just didn't want to play it again because it was just that creepy.
I got a good example of a game that shouldn't really be considered scary, but there were some moments that kind of made me jump. Was playing Gears of War 1 and 2,
Hmm.
because you have sections of the games that you go through that are really dark. Like I can't remember if it's Gears of 1 or 2. I think it was 2, where you're going into this house and the lights are out, and you have a guy on the outside that's running the generator, and the lights are flickering on and off. Do you remember that, Greg? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Um,
You remember it's raining outside, and you're inside. Your team is inside this building, and you're trying to get through this house, and there's the lights are going flickering on and off, and you have a guy who's running the generator outside. Do you remember what I'm talking about? In Gears of
no. Wait. Oh, you're talking about Gears of War.
Yeah,
You're talking about the first game
yes,
with the
Gears of
krill.
War 1. Yes,
Okay. Yes,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah. That kind of scared the crap out of me, because you're walking through these tight corridors inside this house. You got the lights flickering on and off, and then there's krill coming after you in the dark. And then there's these, what are those bat things that were flying down on you? Do you know what I'm
Krill.
talking? Those are krill. Okay, and the krill were attacking you, because they attack you in the dark. That scared the shit out of me,
Oh
because it's
yeah,
just a
I'm
creepy
starting to remember.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just a creepy house that you're walking through, and it's dark and it's raining, and you got krill flying around. And then
Hmm.
there was another house in Gears of War 2 that you walk through that was abandoned, and it's, I don't know, it's just an eerie kind of moment, because it gets really silent, the music gets really low and stuff like that. And even
You
though
know
Gears of War is not really meant to be a scary game.
you
Right,
know
right.
what game is kind of scary, and I say kind of in the regard of because it's still more adventure than it is exploration, and I don't know. Um, I just had it in my head. BioShock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good example.
Yeah, you're right. Because like you don't think when you're playing Bioshock, you don't think of it as scary. Like you're exploring most of the time, but like there are some scary parts in that game that yeah, legitimately can scare the crap out of you.
Well, there's a lot of moments in that game where
Yeah, little sister and her white eyes, that's good enough for me. Her
well,
blink
there's a
stare.
lot of moments in that game where you're just walking from point A to point B, and there's nothing but silence and sounds of rapture breaking apart, or water dripping in the distance, or I don't know. That game. You want to talk about ambiance in a game that is terrifying? That game wins hands down.
Hmm.
Sequel, not so much. Sequel, they totally made into an action adventure game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, when I can't talk today. Um, the one thing about remember about playing Bioshock is that at least for me, when the scary part did happen, is like the first boss when you fought against that nurse guy, that doctor who was obsessed with beauty. Um, when you go into his lab and when you hear the audio tapes of what he was doing to his patients, leading up into the final boss fight, where you go into his lab and you see like a car, like three carcasses on the hanging on the walls. That shit was scary.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
that was creepy, and then it'll be like coming at you, and you're trying to fend them off. But the kind of atmosphere, kind of build up to that was really, it was cool and it was great. But it also had like this dark kind of atmosphere to it too. So that part to me
Yeah.
was scary. Yes.
Um, trying to think of some other games that like just made me poop my pants.
I'll take over for a minute while I let you think.
Good.
There's a game that I played, I loved, and it was recent where um it wasn't much that it scared me, but it did. It definitely did have some very creepy moments, and it was more of an adventure than anything else. Was Dead Space 2.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that game, the fact that especially when you're going to the nursery, like the parts of the game that really lends itself to make itself really scary, it's there, and it's I can remember multiple moments, like especially during some of the cutscenes too. Played, like I don't play horror games often, but this is the first game I truly played in the dark in my room on my computer and played it, and it was great. I had a great time, but it was like at the same time, like it. There were parts in that game that were scary. One moment in particular that I thought was like gonna, like, not be in control, was that kind of spoiler for anybody who hasn't finished Dead Space 2. Um, it's toward the very end, and you find out that your ex dead wife is now helping you because you're kind of admitting to your problems type of deal, and she's helping you along, and you reach into a room, and while you're kind of plowing through necromorphs the entire time, the big arc and like outside is huge, and there's just tons of necromorphs gathering around it. So you go into this room, and you find out like the secret to kind of destroying the arc is in your eye, um kind of like that song going on while it's happening too, which is eerie.
Mm.
So you go into this device, and he asks his dead wife, because his dead wife is like kind of following him like a ghost, and he says, "Will this hurt?" She said, "Yes, it will," in kind of a motherly way. So he sits down, he takes his helmet off, he lies down, and the machine, what it is I thought that was a full cutscene where the machine there's a big needle, and it positions itself. There's a red laser that goes, like, to his eye, and you actually guide the needle straight into Isaac's eye and poke it, and then when you pokes it, like the information comes out. But when I first was doing that, I had to look away because it was like it, it was very. I wouldn't expect that in a game. Yeah, it was very sick. I didn't expect anything like that in a game, so I had to look away when that happened. I was like, ugh.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, it
I know
was.
I would have a hard time with that because I have a huge fear of needles. That would be totally torture for me to have to attempt.
Yes, definitely. And the thing is, though, if you fail, like getting it in the right position, like the needle will jam right into your eye, and you'll be instant death. But
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So that was very that was gross, and but at the same time, the game was still great, even though it was scary.
Mm.
Yeah, that's messing with eyes or fingernails or stuff like that is always something,
Needles,
and
just in general.
it's just something that like will get to anybody watching it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, man.
Like, I have a hard time just listening to bones crack as well. So if there's that mixed into it, it's gonna be a hard time playing that game.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I mean the actual noise of a bone cracking, not like you know, you know.
Taking spaghetti and then pretending.
Yeah, exactly. Like the real noise of the bone cracking, it just sends nerves,
Oh, right, right.
sends chills right down my spine. It's bad. I don't even like thinking about it.
Um, what was I gonna say? I'm trying to think of games that have had scary moments. Games that naturally aren't scary but have had scary moments. Like I remember in Mario 64, there's like in the haunted house area or whatever, there's a piano that would come
Oh
to life and
yeah,
start chomping at you. That's
yeah,
fucking terrifying.
I remember that.
yeah. Because like you're walking around and you don't expect anything, and then suddenly a piano has teeth and it's coming at you. It's like, oh shit.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like, no, thank you. Did you guys ever play a game called Sanity's Requiem on the Dreamcast, or the not the Dreamcast, but the GameCube?
No.
Sanity's Requiem? No.
Oh my god, that okay. That game was the type of game that it was designed to fuck with you.
Hmm.
Um, one of the scariest things that has ever happened to me in any video game ever, and this has nothing to do with like the content in the video game, is losing your save.
Wait. Okay. Wait. I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
Isn't
remember
it?
that.
But isn't it called something else though? Some on darkness or some to that degree. Um.
Yes, it is, but all I can remember right now is Sandy's Requiem.
Okay. Well, I know. Yeah,
I,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh my god, I wish I could honestly remember the name of that game, but that like I didn't know what to do. I thought my shit broke. I was about to reset it before it like started to do things correctly, and but yeah, that was one of those scary moments for him. But that game constantly had those kind of like, what the hell do I do in this situation moments.
Yeah. I know.
I,
Yeah.
I recall a similar creepy moment like Greg had in that game from Metal Gear Solid when Psycho Mantis attacked your system and like
Yeah.
shut your controller down or whatever. And he was just a creepy character altogether. He could float, he could read your mind. And when that happened, like I've never experienced uh, something from inside the game affect the way I play the game in a certain way, like shut my controller's port down. Like you have to quickly switch your controller before he does it, and then he'll attack Snake. And
Hmm.
it'd be like sitting on my couch, seeing that like, oh fuck, I have to get up. It's like
Well, originally you weren't supposed to have known that you were supposed to switch the thing because the only thing that
yeah,
happens is it says Hideo on the screen real quick.
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but
yeah.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know you're supposed to switch it, but you have to switch it or whatever, or
Right.
else it keeps going back and forth, back and forth. But it's just one of those things. Like you're just sitting there chilling, like, oh man, this game's amazing. And then it's like, oh shit, I have to get up and do something now, and it's like
Eternal
just one of those
Darkness.
weird moments.
Eternal Darkness.
Eternal Darkness.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. That was the name of it.
Okay, that's
I
the
had, to,
name.
I had to look it up.
Right. Right. And I definitely hear you. It's like there aren't that many games that fuck with you that mess up your mind outside the content and say like your memories erased or like in the middle of the game like they'll like reverse your control so now everything is completely opposite.
Yep.
It's cool. I do like that, and I like that fourth barrier wall that they break.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. In the words of Deadpool, breaking the fourth wall.
Was there any animes, or I'll even extend it to movies? Like what exactly did when you watch it when young that kind of really sent a chill down your spine?
I'll give you a great example. And to this day, I've told many people I will not watch this movie. The Grudge.
Ah,
That movie creeps the shit out of me. I can't stand it. Dude, I don't know what I have a hard time just thinking about it because it's just it's just the way that girl moves and the way she creeps down the stairs and the way it has to do with the noise of bones cracking. That's what we were just talking about, how that's one of my
Are you
biggest
talking about the
fears.
one with Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Yes, dude.
That one's shit compared to the Japanese version.
Well, dude, I mean, okay, well, when it comes to quality or whatever, that doesn't really come
No, I'm
into play
talking
with
about
me.
in scare factor, Mike. I'm
In
like,
scare factor,
yeah,
really?
if that one, if the American driven one scared you,
Yeah.
the Japanese one will make you shit your pants.
Well, I'm glad I'm never gonna watch the Japanese one because I can barely watch the American one. Dude, it's just like watching her climb down those stairs and hearing like watching the way she moves and the way they do that shadow that shadow shot. Like they move from one space to the other real fast. I can't stand something like that. Like if I was standing in front of something like that was moving like that in front of me, I don't know what the fuck I would do. I'd be scared out of my goddamn mind. You know. You guys know what I'm
Damn.
talking about, right?
Yeah,
You know the
yeah,
way she,
definitely. Yeah.
you know how like she's standing in the hallway and she like just appears, starts moving in a real creepy kind of way or moving really fast, like spider on the ground.
Something similar to that, Mike, bugs the fuck out of me when it comes to horror movies, and it bugs me in the regards of like it like on a personal level bothers me. Like I gotta say that correctly because I don't want it to come across like it bugs me in the regard of like a film bugging me, like something
Right.
like it scares me is what I'm trying
It
to get
scares
at.
you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about. Yeah, it scares you.
Um,
Definitely.
Is anytime a movie has like this weird figure or something strange, and the camera is kind of on it, and then it moves it moves really fucking quick. Like imagine this: if you're let's say you're filming something,
Hmm.
and you
Okay.
tell the person to stand perfectly still, just staring, and then you tell them to like move their head around a bunch, like all over their shoulders and stuff, and just
Yeah.
kind of tilt their head back and forth and just go all different directions. And you record that for about 30 seconds, and then you have them go back to the position their head was when they were just staring blankly.
Huh.
And then you take the footage, and when they're moving their head around, you fast forward it so fast that sequence of head moving around, that 30 seconds, is now like half a second.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they do that. They did that a lot in Saw, I think. I
Uh,
think I've seen shots like that in Saw where somebody's
kinda,
head's
but
moving like that. It's kind of creepy.
yeah, but that I can tell is just them trying to emphasize that it's an actual human being. I'm
Right.
talking about like in did you ever see the movie 13 Ghosts? Not 13 Ghosts, 13
Yes.
yeah,
Yes, I
13
did see
Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. Dude, that movie is creepy as hell too. And I know what you're talking about. There are scenes in there like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that movie's creepy. I actually find that movie to be
Yeah,
fucking
it's
cool.
it is cool, but there are some I don't know.
That movie
I
didn't
find some of
scare
it.
me, but I was using it as an example to point out like there's a ghost in that house that does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Creatures from Silent Hill, and I'm mainly referencing the movie, do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the nurses. Oh my god.
Are you
Hmm.
just talking about you're just talking about something that like moves fast like from one space to another
If
at an abnormal human rate. Is that what you're saying?
As long as it doesn't look human and it does it, that's when it's kind of
Yeah.
that's when I'm kind of like, yeah.
I hear you. I mean,
Well, another good movie of creatures just standing in one place is Paranormal Activity. Getting
oh
that on.
yeah.
There's people standing over like the bed for hours. Dude, wouldn't that creep the shit out of you? If you're sitting there sleeping in your bed and somebody's standing over your bed like for 8 hours, you guys have seen that movie, right?
Yeah.
I've seen one and two.
And you've seen the time in the corner of the clock, fast forwarding over the last 7 hours or whatever, and they're just standing there rocking back and forth or whatever. That would
Mhm.
scare the shit out of me. That movie was fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh,
Oh man, I can't wait to see the third one. By the way,
Yeah.
when it comes to story for that movie, I really don't care. I mean, I know the second one was supposed to be like the prequel to the first one. I just know that it's going to scare the shit out of me because the first and second one did, and I know the third one will.
The thing, and spoilers. The thing about the second one that I liked the most was at the end when like the ending was essentially it fast forwarded to the end of the first movie,
Yeah, it did.
or slightly past the first movie, and Katie
Yeah,
just
the
straight up
beginning of
walks.
the. Yeah.
Katie walks into the house and snaps that dude's neck. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Or like
mhm.
another thing that was kind of creepy was like what happened with the dog in the house in the second one, and the demon taking the dog and doing whatever they do with the dog, and then drags the guy. The thing that like
Movies are a hell of fun to
it
watch.
is because it's like it's almost like what would happen in real life. Like you watch somebody get dragged around the corner and then they disappear. And it's like, where the fuck did that guy go? In the house. It's like, God, dude,
Mm-hmm.
those movies are
You
just
know, it's
awesome.
really funny because a lot of people hate that style of filming. The whole like it's on security camera footage or it's a handheld camera.
Yeah, I know.
I
There's a lot of negative feedback about those
I
films.
love
Yeah.
that shit. I
I do
fucking
too. I
love.
think it's great. I thought Blair Witch was great. A lot of shaky cam, but
If you watch Blair Witch now, you realize that the three actors they got are terrible.
oh yeah,
But
yeah,
back in the
exactly.
day, the thing is back in the day, I believed it to be real.
Yeah, me
Like,
Mhm.
too. Like I think everybody did. Yeah,
like it
Yeah.
wasn't until I believe, because no one ever argued with me. I was like, this is a true story and blah blah blah, and everyone's like, that's cool, and no one ever like questioned it or argued with me or anything.
nope.
And then I was watching some program and like, or I was looking on the internet or something. I don't remember what it was, and somebody was like, those actors and da 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 da, and I'm like, they're not actors. Those are real people. They died. Like, why are they talking about it that way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I was watching MTV's Movie Awards, and they went and the 3 stars from the Blair Witch Project, da, 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 and my brain just melted out my nose.
Mhm.
I was like, oh
Yep.
my god, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, like there is a reason why they do like the shaky cam and the kind of like
Found footage.
yeah, like to make it feel like it's actually happening. That it's real.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like yeah, that shit when it came out was scary.
Well,
But oh, sorry, go ahead.
well, it's you mentioned Saw a minute ago, Mike, and
Mhm.
I was gonna say the thing about those movies is that those movies have never scared me. Any
Yeah.
kind of torture porn movie never scares me.
Yeah. I hear you.
But then
Yeah.
again, slashers don't either. So
Yeah, I agree with you when it comes to Saw and stuff like that. The torture stuff, it doesn't really scare you. It's more about the gore factor. If you have a hard time watching somebody get their arms twisted, like they had one torture rack in one of the Saw movies where this guy is put up on these like these wood, I guess you could say they're wood planks, and he's strapped down, and his head is put inside of a metal vise, and there's a clock that starts ticking, and every minute that goes by his arms start twist like rubber bands, in a certain way, and then if the guy
wasn't
who's
it?
part of it.
I'm sorry. Wasn't it one arm at a time and then one
Yeah,
leg
it's
at a
one
time?
arm at a time, and then his head starts to turn, and it's like that's hard. That was a hard one for me to watch because it was so slow. It's like it wasn't a quick
That one.
death.
That one was my favorite death in that movie.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't a quick death, and you're just watching this guy just slowly die, and it's
God,
like
it's
that's
fucking.
hard to
I just
watch.
realized how morbid it is to say out loud that that's my favorite death.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say it's my favorite too in a certain way, considering it's the one that I remember the most out of all 6 or 7 of those films. But it's
The other
like,
one that I remember very vividly is the one where in the beginning of one of the most recent ones, where it's the two guys who are attached to the table,
mhm.
and the girl is up top and she's being lowered slowly down onto this blade,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
oh my god, that one was fucking cool. I was like, I don't know why. Here's the thing, and I have to mention this. I love shitty horror movies.
yeah.
Absolutely adore shitty horror movies. And personally, to me, as good as like Paranormal Activity is,
Mhm.
those are shitty horror movies.
Oh yeah, big by
Yeah.
far. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what makes them so great. Oh,
Yeah.
and just another side note on another Saw torture that bothered me. When I think it was like in Saw 2 or whatever. I can't remember the girl's name, but she eventually becomes Jigsaw's assistant. One of the moments that she had in Saw 2, she got pushed into a ditch or something that was full of like diseased used needles, like syringes. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, I was just like, "Oh fuck!
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Get me out of this theater right now because that is horrible, dude. You're just laying there and needles are just popping into you from all sides of you because she had to find like a key or something like that. And it's kind of like find the key in this haystack of needles. The metaphor, find the needle in a
Oh
haystack.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
it goes back to that whole thing of like, it's what will make someone cringe is not necessarily a knife going through someone's sternum. Someone being tortured in torture porn. What'll make someone cringe are the tiny things,
it's a tiny thing. Yeah, that you could relate to.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
in Final Destination 5. there were so many cringeworthy moments.
Hmm.
Like the girl strapped to the table and getting laser
Dude,
eye thingy. You know
speaking
that.
of that, people were freaked out from that moment on after getting laser eye surgery because, like, I've heard people talk like, like, can you imagine if something like that actually happened? Like, it makes me think twice about laser eye surgery. You can obviously tell that had some sort of effect on people about how they feel about that.
What's really funny about that too is like, and I actually had I went on to like a thread that was about that, and these people actually believed. And then I was reading even further, and an actual doctor came up there, and a laser eye surgery doctor came on there and was like, uh, he goes, look, those lasers don't go up that high. They
Mhm.
physically can't.
Yeah, they don't burn.
They're
Yeah,
conditioned to not burn at like the highest they can burn would still be safe for your eye.
right.
Mm-hmm.
They're designed that way, and like that's so funny that happened. But that's genius at the same
It is.
time
It is
that the
Yeah,
writers of that movie did that.
because you got
definitely.
people to talk, and that's what they want. You know, it's their
Mm-hmm.
sort of twisted way for advertising, I guess you could
I
say.
think one of the funniest things I had heard recently from the cringeworthy thing was a friend of mine posted on Face or on Twitter. I want to stand outside the theater after people have seen Contagion and then try to high five them.
that's that's
Awesome.
that's pretty genius.
Oh man, that is great.
I
That's
love that. I was
that's
laughing my
pretty
ass off when I
awesome.
read that.
No, just like those guys we've seen at Comic Con, Greg. You know, the free high five signs. He just stands out there with a free high
Oh
five
my
sign on it.
god.
That would be gold. That would be comedy gold right there. I would love that.
Mm. For me, I mean, I'll put in an anime. I put there a movie out there that scared me. The movie that scared me when I was little, and to this day I will still not watch. Um, is do you remember a movie called It?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, Tim Curry, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. Not only was it a clown,
It
but
was a
it
spider.
yeah at the same time. So it's like it literally, and the thing is though was that my parents were watching in the room and I was there with them, and like when I saw that stuff, like I hid under the covers, and I that scared the shit out of me, and to this day I will still not watch that movie. The thought of I remember watching the part where like the kids are around the circle and they're holding hands to make sure nobody leaves, and kind of keep everybody safe, and then you see him like holding hands with them too, and then they break off, and
Yeah,
that shit was just in my mind like the scariest movie. I mean, like I have seen other scary shit as of late, but
yeah.
nothing to the effect of what it did to me.
You
Um,
know,
Go ahead.
the thing about it. The funny thing about it is like when I watched that film, I kind of like cut that film into two sections. The first section of the movie is scarier than shit when Tim Curry is actually the clown. But I feel like when the second half of the film starts, it feels kind of like the Goonies. The kids are going to, the adults are going to face off against this thing, except they're not kids, they're grown up, but they're still, a group together. And then they confront the spider, and it feels like a Goonies adventure, like, let's kill the spider kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's how I felt about that movie. Kind of like there's two sections to that film in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, definitely. And then the anime I want to throw out there that I was kind of like I saw like the preview of it and I didn't think anything of it. Is an anime called Higurashi. And there's a whole full name to it. But I'm not gonna really try and pronounce it because I'm horrible with Japanese titles. Um, is the funny thing is like at first it looked like one of those school simple comedy animes, like kids are playing around with each other. There's angst and kind of that whole ordeal, and it's like okay, I can get into this. And then suddenly it gets into where each four episodes is its own little story. It's like a kind of like its own mystery. You kind of have to figure out who did what, and the deaths in this anime, like I didn't think nothing of it, but then when it got to the story of the two twin sisters, Mion and Shion, where they started, the story of that and how they show a scene where one of them is like torturing the other,
Mm.
like using like a knife to slowly kind of puncture through one of the arms and just kind of going all out. I was just like surprised, and I was like, holy shit! I had to stop watching the anime because of how scary it was, and then come back later on. And I mean, the funny thing is like after I got done watching it, I did watch season two and the OVAs, and it's still good in my opinion. Is that it's funny because like when I was watching season two, there weren't as many gruesome deaths as there were, but the funny thing is I actually as sick as it sounds, like I actually kind of missed that. But like it was kind of stable what it was in the first season, but there were things in that anime that really was creepy and really was scary, and it kind of lends itself into it, and it also puts it in different situations. So the first one's about the main character, that how he dies. Second story is about the sisters. The third story is about how such and touch died. It was very it tricked me and it scared me. But then at the end of it, though, I started to like it more. I don't know if it tells anything about myself, how as far as like what I am with those type of animes. But those were the anime that scared me, but I actually end up liking later on.
Hmm.
It's
That's
interesting.
rad.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I,
But
speaking of a horror anime, and I know that you've watched it, Anthony, is High School of the Dead.
oh yes,
You know what? I did not like it that much.
really.
There's a when it comes to zombies, I'm very particular,
Right.
and that anime did two things that bug me about about people writing about zombies. They didn't stick to their own rules about zombies. There were
Mm.
too many moments where they made it very clear in the beginning they hear. They can hear things. That's how they, go towards things.
Right.
And and there were a
Zombies
bunch.
can hear in The Walking Dead.
No,
Well,
no, no. That's what I'm saying. Is like that they make it clear that
Oh,
you
oh,
have
but
to
they
be
don't stick to that.
not entirely like they should.
Ah.
The way that they kind of write out the rule in the very beginning is like it can hear a very like slight sound.
Yeah.
So be very quiet around them. And then there's a part later where they're being very loud around a group of them and the zombies don't hear, but that's only because they're quote unquote whispering, but they're not whispering. They're talking loudly. Or there's a moment where like has something had to do with like a generator and they turned it on but it didn't affect if the zombies heard them or not at all. Or a gunshot. The gunshot like um I don't remember what part it was, but there was a part where there was a gunshot and it didn't affect where the zombies looked or anything like that. They
right.
didn't care, and I went, that's not. That was the part where the guy is saving the little girl from the house.
Oh, right,
He's
right.
walking, he's walking across the fence, and the dude who my favorite character of the whole thing, um, he shoots that rifle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not a single zombie turned around, and I went, that's bullshit.
Hmm.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, yeah, actually, you're right. Like when he does fire, because he's firing like a sniper, and that thing is loud, and like the zombies don't really hear that. It's actually ridiculous. You actually are right.
That bugged me, and I mean that was like something that like kind of pushed my like direction toward not liking it that much. And then I thought about it for a little bit, and I went, okay, well the story is fun. I enjoyed I enjoyed the path that this story took. I really do feel, however, that if it was longer than 12 episodes, it would be a really really good story. But it's just too short.
Yeah, the thing is though is with High School of the Dead is that the manga. I think what I believe is that the manga. I mean, like it is better because it's already out there. But the problem is that with the anime, when I did some research on this, is that it was straight from the material from episodes 1 through 5 or 6. But then when it got to the more later episodes, like it did hit like one other material episode that was straight from material, but the other episodes that are in that are not, are just completely made up. So I felt cheated at the end because like the way it was going and the way it's supposed to, the way it's ending, or supposed to be ending. I'm sure there's a season 2 coming out, but it was just like it didn't quite make sense. Like there were things that were not fully explained, or like it not fully developed. I wish it was a full 24 episodes, like to be more strung out, and there'd be more explanation of everything. But it was more, I guess, for them, just kind of like a pilot, see how well it does. Um, so yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
thought it began very very well.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought
definitely.
the series started, and I was like, well, this is really cool. But as it progressed, I was like, they're not doing like, and I don't care if you change the rules of zombies. Like that doesn't bother me because I mean I love Left 4 Dead and I love 28 Days Later, or the Days Later series I should say, or whatever. But what I don't like is that when you do make a rule for your own monster, you don't stick to it.
Yeah,
Or at least you're if you try to stick to it, at least make it legit.
yeah.
And like the comic book series Walking Dead, for example, that series is outstanding. I'm actually really behind on that series, but
Oh yeah,
It premieres Sunday, or the show premieres, but you're behind on the issues. I gotcha.
yeah,
yeah,
I still think, like, as much as I like that show, I think the comic is still way better.
Oh, it
Speaking
is
of
by far.
speaking of horror TV shows, have you guys caught the new horror TV show American Horror Story?
no.
No, I have not. No, I've been kind of iffy
Woo!
about watching it. Is it really that good?
Woo! It's good, but it's fucking weird and creepy.
Mm.
Does it make you feel like American and scared at the same time?
I don't know if the American part has anything to do with it, but no, it does. It hasn't scared me yet because the way that it's filmed, it does a lot of jump cuts. So there's a lot of moments where like it's usually like 2 frames, you'll see a creepy image
Mm.
with the characters. So
Mm.
it's bizarre in that regard. Like there's some, like they're definitely trying to pull like a mystery, like what is going on with this house.
Hmm.
But the first shot of the show really gave a good tone of what the rest of the show is going to be like. And it's these two ginger boys walk up to a house,
Mhm.
and they have baseball bats. And I say only ginger because they're like pale skin, freckles everywhere,
They're
and
endangered species.
yes. Uh, but they come up to the house, and there's a Down syndrome girl, or a girl with Down syndrome, in the front yard. She looks at the two boys and uh, she goes, "Don't go in, or if you go in there, you're gonna die." But she says that she's like, "If you go in there, you're gonna die." The two boys look back at her and go, "Shut up, or we're gonna beat your ass." We have,
Wow.
they go, "We have bats." They walk up to the house, like they start to walk up towards the house, and she just goes, "You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it." And I went, "Okay, so this show's going for that. Sweet."
Very much Psycho. Yeah.
It's like
Or
a mix between Alfred
The
Hitchcock.
Shining.
It's like a
Yeah.
mix between Alfred Hitchcock and The Shining. It's like and a little like, because
Stephen King.
it's got
Stephen King. Yeah.
it's very paranormal. It's got a lot of paranormal in it,
Mm.
but paranormal in the extent of like you said, Stephen King or Alfred Hitchcock.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I
It's
hear you.
cool. Definitely check it out because it's worth watching. But
It's got Dylan Walsh in it, doesn't it?
Dylan Walsh,
Isn't it? Who's that? Who's the main actor in that show? Isn't it Dylan Walsh?
no, it's
I know who that guy is. I can't remember his name.
hold on, I wrote it down not too long ago. Dylan McDermott.
Dylan McDermott. Ah, I was right. I was close.
Ah.
Dylan McDermott. One of those Dylans.
Mm. Oh wow, awesome! I'll definitely check it out then. Whew. Wow, that was a nice discussion about horror stories.
Yeah,
uh,
I love horror movies and horror stories. So
hmm. Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, like I'm not really the person to really talk to when it comes to horror stuff, but when it happens, it happens. Um, I think that will conclude today as far as like what we what we've experienced, and I'll let you guys plug away anything you want to plug away before we end the show.
Oh, okay.
Well, Mike, if you want to plug Artistic Alliance, go right ahead because I have some other stuff I'd like to plug.
Oh, okay, Greg. I think I'm going to plug Artistic Alliance because that's what I was exactly thinking.
Well,
Well,
talk about the website, what we do, and stuff like that.
oh, you mean the website where we do all of our stuff
Oh my
and stuff
God,
like
just
that?
talk about it.
Everybody, come check out me and Greg and our other co-host Ben on artisticalliance.org and listen to the freaking awesome podcast. It is what it is in the title, freaking awesome. And we got some old episodes on there. We've been kind of on hiatus for a little while. We got business and lives going on and stuff like that. But we're gonna get back into it, get back into the swing of things very, very soon. So look forward to some new episodes, and leave some comments. Leave some emails on our past episodes, which are really, really funny. And we have a phone number on there. I'm sure you can call, or you could leave an email, or follow us on Twitter. I think our Twitter account is artisticalliance.org, probably.
No, it's
And no,
our Twitter for Artistic Alliance is go ahead and keep talking. I'll find it in a second.
I know we're on Facebook at artisticalliance.org, so you could find us on Facebook too. And as Greg is finding our Twitter account, yeah, check us out. We're really funny. Especially check out our
Artistic Online.
Artistic Online
It's
on
at
Twitter.
Artistic Online, yeah.
And I would suggest everybody check out our episode 99. We had a lot of fun doing that episode, and we think it was one of our best by far. So check that out.
Awesome. Cool.
So yeah, what I'd like to talk about is what I was talking about in the very beginning of the show. So it was shoesandsandwiches.com. We have that show coming up Sunday at 8:00. It's $10 to get in. All proceeds go to the fund, go to the organization. And then check out icupcomedytroupe.com. They're going to be performing there. I also work with them. I'm lights and sound for them. They're improv and sketch comedy troupe. They're hilarious. And then also check out A Geek Losing It on YouTube. It's my own personal show. You can also find it on Facebook if you just search for A Geek Losing It. And I say losing in the regards of LOSIN apostrophe, so no G.
Mm.
What's that? I thought somebody said something.
Oh no! I was just saying, like, interesting.
Gotcha.
I'm stroking my invisible beard right now.
The idea of A Geek Losing It is I exercise, and then once I am done exercise, I talk about geeky things and talk about how I feel about my weight loss. So
Cool, awesome. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at was it Mission Start P1. Couldn't get the whole name in there. You can also follow us on Facebook. If you want to follow me personally, I'm at Defective Naruto. And as far as like when we get back to this, as I can relate to Mike about it. It's no determination when exactly, but here and there will be podcasts coming in just for your entertainment. I'd like to thank you guys for coming in for being with me for this special Halloween episode.
thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It was great to be here. Thank you.
And with that, I'm gonna say thanks for listening in, and we are done.